Yeah. So this is second part. So I don't get it. Where does this outrage come from? All you gotta do is just take a look at our countries, or how you call it, shithole countries. That's all you gotta do. You know, just take a quick look, and and then you can do a search. You know, Mexico, 100 years ago. 100 years ago, our currency was worth more than the dollar. It was one of the strongest currencies in the whole world. In 1 year, you know, like Brzezinski, which he was, I think he served under Bill Clinton and under Barack Hussein Obama. That shit's so annoying. He served, Brzezinski served, I think, under Clinton and Obama. And his famous quote is, the policy that Mark is like, we don't want a Japan at the border. And you might think, well, come on. It's like, yeah, but what have they done to sabotage us? What have they done? We have a technological apartheid. The United States just gave a bunch of technology to South Korea, gave a lot of technology to, I forgot what other countries, and they purposely deny us because they see Mexico just as a sweatshop to produce whatever you might need, for Silicon Valley, for whatever. I mean, you gotta answer about that. You gotta answer about that, because if you think that you are blameless just because, I mean, yes, you are in the most desperate condition than anybody else in the United States, right? But you are the one sometimes who's blasting the most the Blood-Spangled Banner, who, America this, America that. So what is the secret message that you are sending us? It's not, what is it, the covert, whatever, the subtle message that you're sending us, that you are with daddy, right? You are with the crackers. And that's a dangerous narrative, because you think in order for you to get your reparations, you gotta kiss white ass. And that's the message you are telling your people. And nobody did that. Nobody did that. The Japanese didn't do that. The small hats didn't do that. Anybody who got reparations didn't do that. And you keep saying everybody got reparations. We have not gotten any reparations. You stole more than 60% of our land. Where? Pay up. Where's our reparations? Give us our land back. And the same people you're talking shit against, when we get our land back, because we're gonna get our land back. I know that the Texas just filed for separation. They can do whatever the fuck they want, We are gonna be, the entire Latin American continent, we're gonna be in such a powerful position in the international courts that we are getting our land back. Make no mistakes. And the people you're talking shit against, you're gonna have to apologize, Mr. Black. Or at least stop talking that shit. No memory whatsoever, no memory whatsoever about, the history of Mexico. Like 25 years, almost 25 years before the United Slaves. You know, Mexico abolished slavery. And you spend your entire day saying that, you know, oh, you know, Vicente Guerrero, you know, he was like persecuted, he was like whatever, he was this and that. And, you know, but inexplicably, he was able to abolish slavery in Mexico. And for that, we paid a huge price. We lost more than 60% of our land. You know, and it was worth it. There's no regrets, of course, for abolishing slavery. You know, I mean, just look at Haiti, or Haitian brothers and sisters. Unforgivable sin. To abolish slavery is an unforgivable sin. And we went through it. All of Mexico, not just the Afro-Mexicans. All of us, we live in a humongous cemetery, courtesy of whom? That's right, Barack Hussein Obama, a mulatto who's still not being dragged. I mean, okay, not for what he've done to Africa, you know, for putting dozens and dozens of military bases in Africa. Not for that, right? Not for, you know, disqualifying the black agenda, for gutting the black agenda. You're famous, or should I say infamous, for not taking out your trash. Your traitors, they die in glory, like Mr. Elijah Cummings. Sorry, I'm like, somebody's staring at me. John Lewis. That's your business, you said, that's your business. But they don't only hurt you. They don't only hurt you. Their district is not only African Americans. You know, now, Messy Jesse was in the hospital and like, oh my God. You know, I mean, like, and he's hurt you so much. He's hurt you so much, and you want to be respected, and you only attack Mexicans and Spics, and you know, whatever. But you gotta teach people how to treat you. I learned that a long time ago. We all do. We all do. We must treat people how to teach people how to treat us. And as long as, you know, Messy Jesse is gonna be dying like the non plus ultra, you know, the civil rights icon, instead of like you actually going like say hell no, and we are not gonna allow the United States government to shove it up your asses like they did with the other ones. They pick and choose your leaders. That's why Clinton felt so comfortable. You know, oh, he almost, for a little while, he went Stockley. He almost went Stockley, like, you know, crackers can say whatever they want against you. Why? Why is it that they have the privilege to say that, and then you want to be respected by everybody else? Where is this shit going to? This is like, I see them all more escalating, anti-Mexican, anti-Spic. I mean, you gotta pick your battles carefully. You might say, oh, whatever you want, that's all right. You might say that, of course, Latin American race, Mexican is not a race. Nothing is a race. But it's not that simple as to say, oh, it's just a nationality, or it's just a geographical ethnicity, whatever, You're gonna take that chance? You're gonna take that chance? You're gonna declare war against? Let's lowball. Let's say, 1,000 million Latin Americans throughout the whole world. So you are 40, I believe, like you're 40 million, 40 something million. And you are declaring war against 1 million people. And I say that because, according to you, there has never, and I've been listening to you for only 4 years, not a single time you recognize that we might have had done anything semi-decent. I'm not talking about semi-decent, not even once. What gives? And, as the most influential leaders of this era, of this decade, whatever, the decade, let's put the decade, as the most influential black leaders, because yes, you are the most influential, along with Dr. Umar Johnson. I believe that, I listen to you, I listen to him, and then I'm in African Twitter. I read African Twitter every day, and I see how it's even going to Africa. And I'm very curious because at the same time, this xenophobia erupted in black society in America. It did too in the African continent, which was 2 years ago that started to be everybody's fighting against everybody, South Africa, put South Africa first, or and all those hashtags. You are not blameless. You are not blameless, and a lot of times you don't realize the responsibility you got. But if that's the way you want to go, who am I? Who am I to even whatever? All I'm saying, there's going to be consequences. There's going to be consequences to that hostility. Because I have felt it. I have seen it. The hostility from African Americans to Latin Americans. I have seen it firsthand. Every day. I live in New York City. I'm not crying. I'm not saying boo. I'm not saying stop it. I'm just questioning, because it don't really seem like there's a method to your madness when it comes to this anti-Latin American hate. That it's ironic how it's so prevalent also with the ADOS community. It is very prevalent over there, which at the same time, they are even more into the Aboriginal movement, right? the Americas movement, or But as I've been saying all this time, if you was really from this hemisphere, would you be treating us like that? When, you know, the one thing I know about this hemisphere that distinguishes us for, I don't even know how long, it could have been tens of thousands of years. It was peace, it was, it was some harmony, harmoniosity, between all the nations. Yes, this continent, this land, has always been a place for refugees, people running away, or people are like, hey, the Mexicas, they was one of the Johnny-come-latelys in the Anahuac. As I say, the Anahuac used to be called the Anahuac from Canada to Nicaragua, which is exactly what it means. Nicaragua means this is where the Anahuac end. All this history, I don't see nobody wanting to know the history of these lands. So I'm saying that to be careful, because it's a freaking son of a bitch with the blood-spangled banner on his motorcycle. Because there's gonna come a time of scrutiny, and when Latin America wake up racially, this is what George Soros is banking on. And are we making George Soros' job easier? Is that because that's what it seemed like? It seemed like we are making George Soros' job easier to me at dividing. Look what they did over there. What was it? Yugoslavia. As a matter of fact, geopolitical analysts, they call it, balkanization. Oh my God, that bike just really distracted me too much. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what it's known like. You can look it up. Balkanization. Yeah, it was made famous because of the Balkans, how they end up being like, split up in little countries where they can be controlled by the Nazis. That's the model that they want to do for this hemisphere, that's another thing. Like I'm really hoping that these amazing leaders will get into geopolitics, because that's what it's all about. It's all about geopolitics. It's not like, a lot of people, they believe that the United States, it's acting on their own volition, or whatever they say, or their own thing. Like, oh no, a lot of what the U.S. doing is responding to international politics, to the whole geopolitical spectrum, of like that is constantly, and a lot of even have to do with my country, which is we are starting to dictate policy, and along with our beloved brothers of Venezuela, Nicaragua, Cuba, and Argentina is trying. The Argentinian president was last week in Mexico trying to save his ass. He's not a leftist. And I know you despise leftism, but it is your choice. And I don't know if you remember me. I don't know, like only from like 5 years ago. I don't know if I interacted with you. I don't know. I know I interacted with you guys when when you went in and made a blank statement about you know uh, these gender monstrosities, and as I told you back then, you don't recognize transsexualism as a medical condition that's been identified for a long time with solid empirical research for at least the last 200 years. You tell me which country is not studying us. You tell me which country is not studying us. That would be easier. Every country have studied us. Every country is puzzled. They think we're just, we just came out. And who knows, maybe, I know used to be less cases. I don't know. I know that New York City, where I live at, because it's one of the few places that cover, corrective surgeries, so it attracts a lot of. But even before that, it's easier to get lost, in a big city, in a bigger city, and that's all right. This is not about that. This is not about that. But I was just telling you, just why, the blank statements against all spics is also very problematic. And I'm like a broken record, right? A broken record. You want to be seen with nuances, and I think it is important, not indispensable, that you see other people with some nuances. That's just me. That is just me. You always given the middle finger to coalition work, to diplomacy, and I believe that's one of the things, not that anybody asks me. I know that. I know that, but that's just who I am. That's just who I am. I like to analyze everything from many angles, and who knows, I might be once in a while hitting some points. I have diplomatics from other nations following me on Twitter, and I know for a fact they appreciate my insights. So, not that I'm like, no, it's not about that. It is about how can we live together? How can we all live together? Your people is very upset in Latin America because they never see you. They never see you. I remember when Messi Jesse came to Mexico, when there was some controversy about some comic book from the 1940s, which is like the whole planet, right? Like I say, we're all colonies. We're all colonies. Can we start pretending like, oh my God, that the freaking. As much as you want to sell the entire world that we have, agency over even our own bodies, like, that is not the case. It's the same shit, We have people who spend hours and hours in front of the television set from the morning. I don't know if you've ever been to Mexico. I mean, I'm actually planning to relocate to Mexico in a couple of years, God willing, because my plan is to, and I want to get you, this is an official invitation, even like, I'm sorry that it's such an informal invitation, but our president, Lopez Obrador, is giving loans. No questions asked. No questions asked. He's giving loans, so I want to start a little business. I've been talking to some, African distributors, and they seem to be very interested. Unfortunately, I have not been able to contact them. I got their number and stuff. I'm like, I know, it's embarrassing, like I keep forgetting, I have to end. It's not like before that you can just grab the phone and talk to somebody, now like you have to put it on your phone, whatever, and you have to text them and I have to say like, hey, it's me, remember. I mean, I know them on the regular. I know them on the regular because that's a lot of where I buy my jewelry. I know some amazing artists, and so they have obviously connections with, what do you call it? Oh, in English, producers of of all these art and goods, African goods. So my vision is to eventually, get a land, get a space where I can have like a bookstore slash, community center, and to make sure I get all the, well, eventually I'm gonna get them all translated to our language. Right now, it's like, my bookseller, which I recommend you a lot, is Ethnic with a K, Ethnic underscore Book Emporium on Instagram. I didn't bring the card, otherwise I will give you his phone number. He got all the books. He got all Dr. Clark, Dr. Ben Jock, and everybody. He got all the books, and that's what I want to sell in Mexico. I want to sell because, especially like in Oaxaca, since a lot of crackers, they go there to live the life, they have impregnated a lot of people, unfortunately, because I know a lot of people from Oaxaca that they have European last names, and they are not the usual last names, the whatever the Phoenician last names from the Iberic Peninsula. No, these are, English last names and French last names. So yeah, Oaxaca is as far as I know, I've never been to Oaxaca. I've been in this country for more than 30 years. So yeah, I never really, my father's an alcoholic. He never really took us out. Thank God, because every time he took us out, it was drama, which, so that's my vision, and I want to invite everybody. I wanna promote the institution of a little Africa in Oaxaca City, in the capital of Oaxaca, and so that other, because I mean, the last census, as you might know already, 2016, a lot of Afro-Mexicans, they demanded to be counted, and it was, I believe it's 1.6 at that time. 1.6 check that box as black Afro-Mexicans. So yeah, they just feel abandoned. Like I said, when Jesse Jackson was down there, that's what they told him. The videos are over there, just like Jesse Jackson in Mexico. And sometimes there's just like little movie clips like they make, from those websites. But you can tell, like, they say, like, they say, where are our brothers? Why don't they come? All the crackers are there. Why don't you come over there? Oh, that's right, because you hate Mexico so much. And it's like, and a lot of African Americans I know, they really consider Africa to be too far. So as I always said, mi casa es su casa. The last president we had before President Lopez Obrador, he was despicable. He changed the constitution, and so people with other nationalities can buy land in Mexico now. So like I say, if 5 families or 10 families, they put a little money together, that's it. You can buy a house. You can buy a house, and you can have a calendar and say, oh, I'm going to be there in January, other one's going to be in February, the whole month, whatever. You know, it's not expensive. You know, we have like almost 2 million illegals in Mexico, you know, just because they got dollars. You know, we don't kick them out. Isn't that crazy, you know, how capitalism work? If you got dollars, then that's it, you get to stay. You know, and no, we're trying to keep the relationships as that's one of the things that we're investing a lot of money and time in diplomatic relations, diplomatic team. You know, I mean, he's really good, but he's very Eurocentric, of course, or Secretary of Foreign Relations. And so, yeah, I mean, it just, I just remember Dr. Clark saying, you know, that we all been messed up in the head so much. We all been messed up in the head so much that we all believe that, you know, if one thing is good and another thing is good, but it's contradicting, you know, like he was saying, you know, like Dr. King, Malcolm X, everybody was proposing good things. Yes, sometimes was in conflict, but they was good. So we gotta get out of that mindset that by saying if I have diplomatic relations with the SPICs, it's just like, you know, as if the movement was gonna get to be diluted. I mean, which it could, and probably, I mean, like, you know, I guess it have been diluted, as in, you know, but I mean, you have to be a little bit sometimes more specific, you know, as to say, yeah, the Black Panthers was taken down because infiltration, right? And they always say that, and then trying to make everybody believe that it was the SPICs or Mexicans who actually responsible for the dismantling of the Black Panther Party. So let's be a little bit more accurate about that, you know. I mean, there gotta be more research on that. There gotta be more research. So where I am, it's just like, you know, we gotta find a way. We gotta find a way. We're neighbors. We are neighbors. We cannot be attacking us all the time. We got no control over the media. Just because you've been able to be very successful with your YouTube channel, and you know, and use an amazing organizer that was able to get your channel back. We lost a lot of channels. I lost my channel with more than 20,000 subscribers and a lot of oral history, documentation, especially Mexican. You know, I had in that channel all the campaign videos of who is today our president. So for me, those was priceless. And I spent countless hours editing them. You know, back then YouTube used to allow you to put vibrant colors, to stabilize the videos. And that process will take hours. You have to be checking, you know, because they still take a long time. And right now, all you can do is just crop the videos and blur. That's all you can do, like right now. But before, they're cheap as hell. These YouTube people, they're like, that was a really good editing program. And all those videos are gone. They just stole them. They just stole stolen property. That's what it is. That's what I told him. I said, here in China, you know, you are thieves, stealing other people's property. But that's all right. I knew that wasn't my platform. I know. Thank God I know the crackers. You know how they are. Otherwise, I would be like those people, like, oh my God. You know, it breaks my heart sometimes to see, you know, in the news they put African American children, like, you know, that they didn't know the crackers. They thought the crackers was their friends, and they ended up, humiliated and in the classroom and whatnot. And that's the first time they heard about racism, you know. But I don't even know what to say. What a mess. What a mess. And I mean, like, one of the things that always get my attention the first time is like, oh my God, our African Americans, they have so much in your plate. You got so much in your plate, and you find time for Mexicans all the time. And it's just not only you. I mean, like, I don't even want to give them publicity to all the ones that are constantly, and they are in California. And they are in California, like, those people call you up and told you, like, guess what? Yes, it's a mass exodus of African Americans from California, but they are going to Texas and Florida. So why? I mean, if we are so toxic for you, why are you moving to states that got a lot of spics? It just don't make any sense. It don't make any sense, And and also I remember I told you that the thing is that there's a lot of African Americans who marry the so-called Latin Americans, just to get away from blackness. Because then, people they don't associate, like if your last name is Gonzalez, it's like, it's not the typical last name. Sometimes you would associate, and they put in like Roberto, Pablo, or something like that, and then they think like, oh, like case in point, the Dominicans, that there's the opposite. They think by naming their children English speaking last names that they're concealing their blackness. I don't know if you keep up with especially about, I live in a Dominican neighborhood for more than 25 years, right here on Dykeman, and across the bridge to the Bronx, because I love this park. It's so private and quiet, even in the summertime. It's unbelievable. I got tables, it's paradise in here, and you got the sun, and it's like, what else do you want, right? And I lost my train of thought, I'm sorry. It was like all this noise. I think I told you what I was gonna say. Oh my god. Yeah, I think I finished my point. My point is there's a lot of African Americans that are turning spics. So, it's crazy. The moment that they turn spics, then just like, I know, whatever. I mean, like, if you want to keep doing like that, it's up to you. It's your people, your choice. Of course, I admire you both a lot, Professor Black Truth and you, Mr. Jason Black. I mean, like, I really believe that what you have done is just unbelievable. Like, that you've been able to galvanize, big chunks of your community very effectively. Very, very effectively, and I wish you the best. I wish you, like, if you ever come to New York City, if you want to have coffee, whatever, like, I know you don't, but if you do, I mean, it's on me. I'll be very, if you give me an interview, I will be ecstatic. I know it's not conducive. I know it's not conducive. I know it is not conducive, but you gotta realize I have nothing. I have no material. I have no didactic material to teach my people the truth. You know, it is imperative that, I was telling, well, I have a friend in Florida, which I never met him, but for years we've been back and forth. And so, I told him, why is it that I met throughout, say I've been here since 1989, and I have met African Americans who speak, speak, yeah, that's what they call it, speaks, by the way, um, fluent Japanese, Mandarin, Arab language, I mean, you name it. But Latin American language, he said, oh, I know a lot. Well, can you like point me to their channel or something? Like I would love to have these conversations in my native tongue. I was supposed to have an interview with an Afro-Colombian, and for some reason it was like freaking Telegram. I didn't see the message. I think he got pissed off or something. So I don't know when he's gonna give me that interview. But so far, he's been sending me articles and stuff, and it's just like, and it's just horrible. It is horrible. I mean, like, they have this website where the United States Embassy created this organization for Afro Bolivians. They have all these Afro Bolivian refugees and stuff. Is like, it's just unbelievable. Like, I mean, like, and they have these African American. She's so fucking charming, and yeah, she's biracial. She got, like the blue-eyed devil, and she's like milk and honey, and like, oh my god, and oh my god, and I hate it because they learn all the most intimate, words. That was like, bitch, it's like Danny Show. I think that's his name, Danny Show. I used to encounter him in the protests here in New York City. This cracker, and like, and when he first met me, he called me by my name. I'm like, ew, creepy as hell. How can somebody know your name, like that? Right now he's in Haiti and in DR, supposedly, It's not one of those crackers that go all over the world with very deep pockets. And so why was I telling you this? I forget that. Yeah, like, you ever gonna watch this show? Like, are you ever gonna watch this video? Yeah, right. One can dream. One can dream. And, I just, want you to know that I'm here to help in any way, shape, or form that I can. Say, being here in New York, I mean, like, this is, unfortunately, I'm transsexual, but, that's another obstacle, but and that's all right. I mean, I'm not asking for sympathy or anything. I'm doing amazingly well. Like I always say, I was able to buy an apartment in 1994, because when I came here, I was a typical Mexican, working 2-3 jobs and saving all my money. I saved all my money for yeah, I was like 4 years. I saved all my money. I was in, yeah, not even in toilet tissue. Well, I still don't. I like, these corporations, like, okay, so here's, put it in your handbag. So, I was lucky that this cracker invited me to live in this building that I am, and I know that's never the case. You might be able to put up all the money that I put up together. It was only $20,000 back then. It was not even $20,000, and that's what I had in my savings. I didn't know. I just decided to move to New York from Chicago. I was like, in 1992, I say, F it. I said, well, you know, the house burned down where I was staying at, and you know, I just, you know, I was very messed up back then. These bikers are so outdated. But I cannot wait, and you know, to be able to aiming to get a political, you know, to get into some political office in Mexico, and I want to do diplomatic work. I want to do, you know, all that shit, but you know, it's really bad in Mexico too. You know, we have these feminist gatekeepers, you know, terrorists that constantly vandalizing, and you know, George Soros bitches, you know, that constantly they're trying to tell us what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and you know, thank God the international media haven't picked that up, but I don't even know, you know, tell you the truth, but we are not backing down. We are not backing down. We got more than 60 million poor Mexicans, you know, in a country that we have, you know, everything. We have beautiful beaches, we got minerals, we got, you name it, we got it. So it is very shameful to have so many, you know, more than 20 million Mexicans are living in extreme poverty. That should hurt a lot, you know. We totally dropped the ball watching soap operas, or men watching soccer, and like, the good news is a lot of people, you know, they're starting to wake up. Our president trying not to hide nothing from us. He's trying not to hide anything from us, our president, which is good, which is very, very good. He's teaching us about politics, he's teaching us, you know, he have almost a 50-year-old political career. We know him since like 40 years ago, and of course when we met him he was demonized, he was a terrorist, he was like, you know, and then thank God internet came about, and then we, you know, well, I knew he was the real McCoy, like they say over here, you know, longer than that. They stole the presidency twice from him, shamelessly. He's amazing. I mean, I don't know what can I tell you, you know. He suffered a heart attack because he was trying to protect our oil, which we nationalized in the 1940s against all odds, and that son of a bitch gave it away. He even changed the constitution, like I told you. He changed the constitution to give away our oil, and now we have to buy very, very expensive. We have to buy very expensive gas from the United States. You know, we're currently persecuted for attempting to build just one oil refinery. One oil refinery. Even Bill Gates, he says, like, you know, what the hell is Mexico doing making refineries, oil refineries? What they need to invest is in education. As if we all know that the United States got the worst education system in the whole world. I mean, you just gotta have a conversation with anybody, right? To find that out. You know, it's like, what are these children doing when they go to school? And yet, I see how many refuse to finance Dr. Umar Johnson's academy. You know, it's just one of those things that you go like, what? You know? Anyway, I think I said a lot. Way too much. I wasn't playing. God bless you. A little boy dancing. We can be doing so much stuff together. Not with me, you know, but I don't want you to be like, oh shit, I have to talk to this tranny for no. But there is ways we can have secret meetings. We can, like, you know, and you know, I think you know me by now. I don't have any ulterior motives. I really want you all to invest, you know, to buy land, to buy properties in Mexico. That's I cannot insist on that. I should have started with that. It's so close to you, especially at the border. And I know you see the crime rate and all that shit, but in that regard, we are like you. You know, we don't kill foreigners. We just kill each other. You know, I mean, that's not to say that is true, but that's what they said. That's what they always said. You know, I see all the African American YouTubers saying that. So I don't know if it's true. This is the time. We have 3.5 years left in office. I want you to know that I'm doing everything I can to have an African agenda in Mexico, to have, you know, for our Afro-Mexican brothers and sisters, and especially because, you know, our slogan is that we are never going to lie, not to steal, and not to cheat, not to, no. How do you say the translation?